You're saying that it would be a classic case of fraudulent inducement.
Yeah, I think so.
To his sponsors.
That's right. That's right. When Lance Armstrong entered into all of these sponsorship agreements, he portrayed himself as above all of the drug scandals that tainted other riders and other athletes. He got a lot of money because of that. Now, if we find out that he actually was on steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs at the time he signed those agreements, I think that's definitely inducement for those sponsors. That's why they wanted him, because he wasn't involved with those scandals. If it turns out that he was, I think that's a problem. I think it could be fraud.
Then the question becomes, do these sponsors want to go through the litigation? Do they want that image for themselves? Can they get enough money from Lance Armstrong?
That's right. And I think he certainly has the money where it might make it worthwhile for them to do it. A lot of these sponsors are big companies, so they have the money to go after him and engage in litigation. But do they want to go through that trouble? Do they want to go through the disruption involved in litigation? Do they want to relive this whole episode with him and why they paid him the money and what they knew and what they didn't know? That's going to be the question that they'll have to ask. For some of them, if they're bound to get a lot of money back from him, it might be worth the effort. For some others, maybe not.
So what's the legal situation as far as Lance Armstrong is concerned now? He hasn't admitted anything himself, although we all assume now that he was using illegal drugs, at least illegal for these organizations, the whole time during his career, because he's effectively taken the Fifth Amendment since these allegations came out.
That's right. For years it was, I didn't do anything, I am drug-free, I've never done performance-enhancing drugs. And then when he had to defend the case that the United States anti-doping organization brought against him, he decided he wasn't going to defend that, probably because the evidence was so compelling against him that he knew he was going to lose that and he chose essentially to concede that. So that's where he is legally, and now he would be going the next step of not only not contesting, but affirmatively admitting that he engaged with performance-enhancing drugs. And I think that's very dangerous. It's one thing just to not say anything, although that has raises a lot of implications of guilt. It's quite another to affirmatively say, yes, I did these things. I think that opens him up to tremendous possibility of lawsuits by the sponsors, as we've mentioned. I think that's very dangerous to go down that route.
Although he already, in a sense, could become a target for lawsuits, whether he admits it or not, right? Because there at least is one organization saying he did it, and there's no one saying he didn't do it.
That's right. But the difference is, if he's now admitting it, it makes it a lot easier for these companies to go after him. They don't have to prove everything in a court of law. He's already admitted it. They don't have to go through all of the obstacles that you would have to go through as a plaintiff in a litigation to prove fraud. It's a very high standard to prove fraud. He's making it easy for those companies. So it's just going to be a question of, you've admitted it, how much are you going to pay us? And again, that really opens the door to claims against him.
And just to be clear, there's no legal reason, there's no compelling reason for him to admit it, right? I mean, there's no kind of plea bargaining with the anti-doping organization, because he would have to, even if he admitted it, serve an 8-year ban, then he would be 50.
Right. There's nothing that we know of. We don't know if there are negotiations behind the scene. We haven't heard of anything like that. So it would be a bit surprising if that's what was going on. I think what might be behind it is he wants to rehabilitate his image. That's what going on doing interviews and things like that might do for him. And he'll say, I'm sorry, America loves to give people a second chance. He was a hero in many ways based on surviving cancer.